video, but I'm hoping.
Hi, Eric. I guess I'll start it off here. And I know it's probably tough considering you guys have only played Big Ten teams this year, but what are your overall thoughts on the regional? I know they said on the telecast, it seemed like it was one of the toughest.
Yeah, this is Christmas morning for a coach. I just like seeing the reaction of our guys, and those are the celebratory moments that you chase, and that's why you do it. And that they have an opportunity to, either if you don't win a championship in the regular season, you get a chance to play for one in the postseason. So, I'm thrilled for our guys. This has been as consistent of a group as we've ever had here from start to finish. A low maintenance team, no issues off the field. They do everything right off the field. 19 guys, academic, all Big Ten, hardworking, worker. Come early, stay late. Just great leadership. Just one of those teams that is a true pleasure to coach. Not just coach speak. I truly enjoy being around these guys, and this is the time of year where if for those of you or parents who know this, when your kids start driving and you hand the keys over and say, let's go for a ride, and they get to drive, and that's what it's like. So really cool time of year, really fun time of year. So I'm ecstatic for each and every one of the players that get to experience this.
How much were you guys sweating the bid? I mean, obviously they said that you were one of the last four in. Were you guys pretty confident with your resume and body of work that you guys were going to get a nod today?
Well, sweating the unknowns. I mean, controlling the controllables, and there's so many uncontrollables this year. I felt like we, from a talent standpoint, we're one of the best 64 teams in the country, but one of the uncontrollables is not knowing what is valued by the committee, especially with RPI not meaning anything. And one of the uncontrollables for us is the Big Ten's decision to play conference only, which nobody wanted of the coaching group or the players. Nobody wanted a 44-game conference only schedule. And we all knew that could negatively affect our opportunities to play in the postseason because you couldn't evaluate our teams against outside competition. So all those things, yeah, it was, and then coupled with finishing third in the conference, not knowing if three teams were going to get in or two teams. And so, yeah, all those things were, led to some, maybe, some tense moments, but, sure am glad we got in though.
Eric, what do you make of this regional with Notre Dame and Central in there? And your first round, your first one at UConn.
Yeah, it's a UConn regional, just like 2 years ago it was the Creighton regional. It's just whoever your opponent is, that's the regional you're in. You can only take these things one game at a time. The regionals are so hard to navigate through just because you can't predict what's going to happen. You don't know how many games you're going to play going into it. You don't know who you're facing. You don't know what time you're going to play. You don't, and then you have all the normal stuff like weather and everything else. So, right now you that's all you can do is just take it, whatever you got in front of you. And for us, that's UConn, and that's 100% literally all we are going to be locked in on this week is just doing whatever we have to do to prepare for UConn, who is an excellent team. Very complete team, just looking at their stuff here in the last hour or so. They do everything well.
What are you going to be working on in practice over the next couple of days?
I mean, because you think our offense went to sleep again, Jack? Is that what you're saying? You always crush me on the offense. You think we need to score 10 runs a game or we suck. I don't know. I mean, this time of year, it's like, you want to keep your skills sharp, so we're going to hit, of course. We're going to do some team defense. We're going to do some individual defense. We may have some pitchers will throw bullpens. But this is like the t-shirt and shorts time of year where the intensity's high, but the volume is low. And you just try to make sure your skills are sharp, your team is fresh. We'll lift weights a couple times this week. But our workouts aren't going to be long. They'll be intense, but they won't be long. So it's just more about just making sure that our guys are confident. Our team is healthy. Our guys are fresh, and we are, going into this regional against UConn, hopefully firing on all cylinders.
What would you say the biggest strength of this team is at this point in the year?
Someone asked me that a couple of weeks ago, and it's the guys in the room. It's the intangibles. They truly are, one of the most low maintenance teams I've ever been a part of. It's the leadership, it's the work ethic, it's the experience, it's the maturity of the group. It's an older team. It's 32 out of 42 are not freshmen. So we have a very old team, and that makes, that's great for a coach and a coaching staff, because it just lends itself to a consistency of the group. They've been there before, they know what to do. And so that's been the strength, is just the intangible skill set of the group. From an execution standpoint, we have two very good starting pitchers in Steve and Cam. Our two starting pitchers are really good. Our offense has been a huge bright spot of the year, even though Jack doesn't think so. But it's if you look at our production offensively, it's been the best offense we've had since I've been here statistically, in terms of, or at least it feels that way in terms of slugging and runs per game, and just the ability to score and hit for some power. And then we have really good middle defenders in the infield, especially with Griffin Mazer and Ben Sims, two all conference guys. But just feels like it's got the pieces of a complete team. But it also feels like, though, we haven't gotten hot yet. And so that'll be a really, really awesome challenge for us. This is the time of year where you want to get hot, and the teams that advance at this time of year are the ones who do, because everybody's good. So we will certainly have to minimize our mistakes and not beat ourselves, but go into this weekend playing our best baseball, because we're gonna need it to get through UConn and all those teams in that regional.
Erik, you mentioned confidence a moment ago in terms of what you're trying to build this week. Your team finished the season 8-10 after starting 19-7. I guess where is the team's confidence right now, kind of getting a reset button in the tournament?
It's good. I mean, our schedule is a little bit front loaded and or back loaded with the quality of the teams. You play Indiana and Maryland and Nebraska at the end. Those are three of the top four teams in the league. So they all three of those series were hard fought and really good battles and high level baseball being played. We got out of the gate really well, obviously, with 3 wins against a very, very good Iowa team. And then we're fortunate enough to sweep Purdue in 4 games. It's hard to sweep 3 games, let alone 4 games. But then you're right. There was a middle part there. Rutgers and the pod at Illinois, dropping that Sunday game to Sparty, that where, it was like a 5-5 stretch that really, I thought we didn't play our best baseball during that stretch, even though we won the series at Sparty. We didn't hit all that great against them, even though we won 2 out of 3. But that 10-game stretch, we knew we were going to have our hands full with Indiana and Maryland and Nebraska, but that was a stretch right there that felt like we could have played a little bit better. And then ultimately, when you look at our home record, 8-8 at home is terrible for our standards, especially for a team that feels like we've won about 80% of our home games over the last 5 years. And to go 8-8 at home, that really was, I thought one of the weaknesses of evaluating this team, something that will need to be addressed moving into next season is we have a saying here, protect the fish. And I probably didn't do a good enough job of accentuating that with this particular team. But on the flip side of that, we have been really good away from home. We're 19-9 away from home. So, on one side, we didn't play well at home. That's a negative, but the positive is we don't have any more home games and we play better on the road. So, what the hell?
Erik, you mentioned none of the Big Ten coaches wanted this Big Ten only schedule. Can you quantify what you miss when you play only Big Ten schools and you don't have those non-conference?
Yeah, I mean, I can just give you a really relevant story, and it was us going to Texas Tech and getting absolutely bullied by the Red Raiders in Lubbock, and they were running out guys out of their bullpen, their 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th pitchers throwing upper 90s. And it was just a barometer for us to see what the top level teams are and what their bullpens look like, what their starting pitching looks like, what, a first rounder looks like, and Jace Young. And just, for us, it was like, whoa, okay, we need to turn our machines up a little bit harder because we're training our guys to win the Big Ten, but we're training our guys to go to Omaha too. Like, we need to beat teams like Texas Tech. And so that was a great, a measuring stick that we need to be this much better, and we're not there. And we've got we need to improve a whole lot. So I think when the Big Ten teams like us and any of the other teams can go out early in the non-conference schedule and challenge themselves with some other Power 5 opponents, especially some good ones, you get great feedback of where you stand compared to them and what you need to work on.
And did you watch what happened with the softball bracket and wonder if there were going to be the same kind of considerations or lack of considerations in terms of Big Ten teams in this tournament?
I did, and I feel this way about softball, and I feel this way about baseball, and the Big Ten, we did this to ourselves. So I don't blame the selection committee. I wouldn't have blamed the selection committee one bit if we were not included. They already have a tough enough job, and we as a conference made their job even harder by not having any information to compare the Big Ten teams to in terms of playing those measurables like we just talked about against other outside non-conference opponents.
How much did the coaches fight the Big Ten? Or, I mean, was there any? Could you fight them on this decision?
Say that again, Angelique.
Was there any opportunity for the coaches? Did you guys fight the Big Ten on this decision, or was it just, your hands?
Oh, we were very outspoken about it. And ultimately, when football played 70% of their games, everyone else is going to play 70% of their games, with the exception of basketball, I guess. So, we knew once football was reduced the way they were reduced, that was going to have a ripple effect into every other sport, especially the non-revenue sports. And you know what? Can you blame the administrations? I mean, when it gets down to money like that, and you got to find a way, these cost containment committees had to spring into action to curtail some of these ancillary costs. So you knew that was going to be a byproduct of it. So we were reduced from 15 weeks to 13 weeks. And our main argument was, well, at least let us play 4 games a weekend in those 13 weeks so we can get to more games instead of 44. But unfortunately, that just, that didn't happen. So that's where we landed.
I wanted to go back to 2019 real quick, too. I know this is a completely different group, but is there any experience you can draw on for the few guys that were around back then to take into this tournament run?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's still like 17 guys on that team that are still here. So very much just the whole mentality of being loose and competing and shrinking the moment, making it all about baseball, having as much fun on a field as you can possibly have. All those things still apply. And then that group was very good. The Team 153 group was very good about having perspective that, hey, this could be our last weekend together. This could be our last game together. So let's let's enjoy it. Let's immerse ourselves in this moment as best we can and enjoy it together. And fortunately, they kept getting their season extended, but that was how they did it, just literally one day at a time.
What are your thoughts on Clark Elliott and Christian Malfetta not being named to one of the All Big Ten teams?
Well, it's a lot of good players this year. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. We had 8 selections. I didn't know when I was filling out that ballot, you can't vote for your own players. And I was just looking at all the positions that were nominated at each spot, or all the players that were nominated for each position. And everybody was good. And, particularly in the outfield, you're looking at all 3 positions, and you got to pick the, rank like not, the top 9 guys or something out of the entire league, and same thing with third base. You had a lot of good third basemen this year. So, I was really happy for Sims and Burton and Obertop to get something in the infield for us. Really happy for Mazer, happy for all of our guys. But it was a crowded ballot this year with a lot of deserving kids on there. So I didn't really think that those 2 guys got snubbed. I thought it spoke more to the strength of the overall conference and caliber of the players in the conference.
Can I ask one more? Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, Tito,
Okay.
look at this.
Eric, I was wondering, you had said early this year that you learned a lot about during the pandemic about talking to younger people when you were skiing with your kids, pizza and French fries, and then you were going to use, you could apply that to this team. Did you do that? Did you approach things?
I think you said, did I apply? You mentioned the pizza French fries story. I forgot I told you that. Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you struggle in sport, you have to simplify. If it's a hitter or pitcher, defender, anyone that's ever slumping or struggling, you just got to go back to keeping it simple. Pizza French fries, simple, for the ski lesson. Did I tell you guys the pizza French fries? I didn't even tell the players the pizza French fries analogy, but yeah, we have to. I think I talked more about that with the coaches of, just trying to teach in pictures and let it, whatever you say, make sure the player can see that, visualize that in their brain, not confuse them with too much fancy, multi-syllable words that are just going to, leave them in a worse place. So, yeah, it's just, I think the pizza French fries style of coaching really works. Sometimes less is more, and a guy, once in a while just, needs a pat on the back, say, hey, you're doing a great job, just a little affirmation. And it just depends, with each individual guy. But yeah, most of our players, much like my kids, pizza French fries goes a long way on and off the field.